The Arizona Attorney General is suing large landlords for apparently price fixing their rentals. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of the state of Arizona, and it has to do with the whole Real Page and the rental price setting thing that has been going on all throughout the entire country. So the Attorney General in Arizona has decided to sue some large landlords in the state because they say that these landlords were basically colluding together to defraud people by charging too high of rental rates. Right now, I think this is complete garbage. I think that there is an algorithm that can be used to determine what the market rate for the rents are, but there's no software out there that can force people to pay rents that they can't afford. Okay, I think this is just a conspiracy theory that's being pushed by a ridiculous bunch of socialists who want to push rent control onto us. Okay, that's what this is really about. They want rent control. They want artificial government price controls, and they want regulation over how much we can charge for rent. And don't think that this is just going to affect the large landlords, because they're going to come after the small ones too. And this is all part of the plan. Okay, so when they say that this software or that these landlords were somehow working together, that's complete garbage. All it would take is one landlord charging a little bit lower rent, and they could just destroy the market share of all these other landlords who are using this software. So I think the software is a very useful tool. It is difficult. It is very difficult to determine just how much rent that people are willing to pay. Now, yeah, the prices of rentals and rental prices in the Phoenix metro area in particular, they went through the roof really quickly after the pandemic. And part of it was there's just a flood. And I've been talking about this for a long time. There are a flood of Californians moving from California into Arizona, and their dollar goes a lot further than the people in Arizona. Okay, so they have more money. They're bringing large amounts of money with them for these rentals. They're willing to pay a bit more. A lot of them are working remotely back in California, but they're living in Arizona where the prices are a lot cheaper. And so yeah, the rental prices are going to reflect that. It doesn't necessarily mean that the landlords are colluding. They're just trying to get the most money possible. That's what real estate investing is all about. And whenever you tell me that, landlords, regardless of their size, regardless of the fact that these are corporate landlords or not, right, that they aren't able to set their own prices on rentals, well, the government wants to step in and say, oh, you're charging too much. Well, it's obvious what this is. It's a push towards socialized rent control, period. Okay, and I just want to make it clear that I am not in support of this, and that this is a very slippery slope. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So what do you think of this whole Real Page scandal? Are these large landlords, are they colluding together to set prices? Remember that these large landlords, they're using a property management company to manage their properties, right? And those property management companies, they manage thousands of units. Okay, it is very difficult to just sit there and be like, okay, well, I think this is the amount of rent that we should be charging for this particular unit in this particular location. So there is a need for AI or for a software algorithm to help us determine how much the rental rate should be, especially when we're talking about this many units. And I think that a lot of small landlords could actually use the help of this sort of software as well, but not if it means we're getting sued and that we're part of this nonsense. Okay, but anyway, let's get into this article and see what it says. This article is coming from 12news.com, and it says, AG suing Arizona landlords for corrupting the market, colluding to keep rents high. Now, colluding is implying that they were all working together with the plan of defrauding, or that they were all working together with the plan of keeping rents high. I don't think that's the case at all, okay? There was no plan for this at all. All it was landlords trying to maximize the amount of rent they were able to get for their property, period. Okay? And sometimes that means pushing up your rents to a higher level. and you don't always know what the actual cap of what people are willing to pay is unless you push your rents up to the highest amount possible. Remember that properties are valued based upon the rental income. Gee, like it seems to me that it would be almost impossible to prove that this was the case, and I highly doubt it is the case, because there are so many landlords within the state who weren't using this software, but at the same time had rents that were just as high. This is frustrating, because this is just some far left progressive communist nonsense. Anyway, let's see what the article says. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays is suing several owners of apartment complexes throughout the valley for allegedly engaging in illegal price fixing and creating a mechanism that's exacerbated Arizona's housing crisis. The state's top legal official announced Wednesday her office had filed a lawsuit against 9 major residential apartment landlords in Arizona and RealPage Inc. for allegedly conspiring to inflate rental rates and eliminate competition in the market. One reason renters in the Phoenix and Tucson metropolitan areas are paying more is because RealPage has facilitated a price-fixing conspiracy among a large share of multifamily apartment lessors in Arizona, the lawsuit states. Garbage. It's complete garbage, okay? One, landlords are going to charge as much as the people, around them are charging. Simply put, why would I, as a landlord, especially as a large landlord, be charging a rent that is significantly lower than the other landlords are getting down the street? That wouldn't make any sense. So all it would take is one landlord to push their prices high. And from what I read about this RealPage thing, right, it was just a suggestion. It didn't say anyone had to increase their rents to that rate, especially considering, hey, here's the suggestion, but if the market isn't willing to pay that much, then we might have to lower rents or offer concessions or do whatever it takes in order to fill our units, okay? But here is the problem. If people were willing to pay that much, then the algorithm was correct. The algorithm was correct guessing how much the rent that people were willing to pay would be. Okay, the reason the rents are so high has zero to do with this algorithm. The reason the rents are so high is because there is a huge amount of demand in the Phoenix area. Okay, it is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, growing metropolitan area in the entire country. Okay, we have tons of people from all over the country who are moving there because of the quality of life. I used to live in Arizona, so I know this. It is a nice place to live, and there's a lot of housing, and real estate is a thing there, and people especially from California are moving there because it is so much cheaper and so much freer, much better laws, at least it used to be, than California. Of course, they're bringing their garbage nonsense laws with them, and this is an example of that right there. According to the AG's lawsuit, 70% of apartment units in Phoenix are owned by companies that contract with RealPage to provide revenue management. Mays said this alleged scheme started in 2016 and has impacted hundreds of thousands of renters across the valley. You could not throw a rock in Phoenix without hitting a building that was jacking up rents on their customers, Mays said. Well, yeah. What did you expect? Okay, here's a real question. I want you to prove that these rent increases were only due to the software, not due to the outrageous record inflation that we have faced over the last 3 years since the pandemic, okay? We have had outrageous inflation, okay? The cost of everything has gone up. And you're telling me, oh, well, the only reason the rents are high is because of this software. No, we are raising our rents for a multitude of reasons, not to mention the fact that this area is high in demand. Okay, they'll never be able to prove this garbage. And you know what? I feel bad for these landlords because you know what? I could have easily been caught up in this. I used to own an apartment building in Phoenix, Arizona. I sold it back in 2020 and then moved all my assets over to the Midwest. And I'm glad I did because, I don't know if my property manager at the time was using this software to set the rental prices. I could have very well been one of these landlords that got caught up in it. Now, I know they're probably only suing the large landlords. I'm just a small guy, right? But just the thought of, hey, a lot of landlords with good intentions, we weren't acting as a cartel. We were just trying to get the most value for our investment. That is all we are ever trying to do. And it just, this whole thing, it just pisses me off.